This is Mainstream Metaphysics with your host, Nick Newmont.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Mainstream Metaphysics. I am Nick Newmont. Sitting in with me tonight is Brandon Fravel.
What's up?
Welcome back to the show. That's
my younger version. What's up? Peace sign. Happy to be on the show again.
Welcome back. It is another week of warm weather. People are asking when are we going to get rain? Well, this coming winter we get a Mars retrograde. Mars goes retrograde every other year, and when Mars is retrograde, it's anti-fire and get ready for a wet winter.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, people are, as I've said a couple weeks ago on the show, it's Southern California. It's July. It's now August. It's hot. It's supposed to be hot.
Is it this hot?
This hot. This hot. I was working with a client of mine doing a Zoom today from Italy, okay? And southern part of Italy. And she says, because she's from Italy and she's, English background, that it's 42 degrees Celsius. So I pick up my phone in session, 42 degrees Celsius, 107 Fahrenheit.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
In Italy.
Yep. So we're looking at it being 90 here, and it's 107 in southern Italy. Which will lead into our part of the show about why people don't work out and seasonal working out. Over the last couple weeks, I've gotten a huge response over talking about the Barbeau basket, the show I did on the 22nd, the show that I did 2 weeks before that. And we are technically out of that basket now, that alignment between Jupiter opposing Pluto, and the sextiles between Neptune and Uranus to Jupiter, and Neptune to Pluto. We're moving away from those 4-degree alignments. And, people have asked, what is this going to mean? And it had some really nice comments, but people are asking, does it mean that we're going to be treating each other better as humankind?
I sure hope so.
And of course. Well, and the answer that I give is, look, this is a very benevolent alignment that we have, and wherever you put your focus and attention, that's what's going to happen. And I said jokingly a couple weeks ago, if you're imagining a big giant cheeseburger on a plate, well, that's what you're going to get. So wherever your focus and attention is, that's what you're going to get. But you want your focus and attention to be on good things that you're wanting to create for yourself or for humanity.
Okay.
Now, the other conversation that's part of this is the 888 alignment, the August 8th.
Yeah.
And it's called 888 because, and this is where we do the numerology math, at 2026, 2 and 2 is 4 and 6 is 10. Then you add 10 to August, which is 18, and the day, the 8th, creates 26, 2 and 6 is 8. So there we go. 888.
I forgot all that.
I know. You took that class. So, yes, it is an 888. And it actually started around July 28th. It doesn't just happen on August 8th.
Wow.
It's been in motion. It is a portal of energy where we want to be focused on what we want to create. And the irony is that the Barbeau basket was happening, in full force, around that time.
What was the energy like around that time? Weeks ago. I'm just trying to
at the time of the basket, it felt later, like things were flowing more.
Okay.
And areas where I put my focus and attention, it did follow that.
Okay.
So I have energetic proof that it was going on.
Okay.
So the 888 portal will go until August the 12th. So it's a period.
4 days.
Oh yeah, and
That's a long time.
and I ran a chart on that because it's actually on the 12th. There's an eclipse, and it's the moon right on top of the sun. And so we have Mercury in Leo, Jupiter in Leo, the moon in Leo, and the sun in Leo. And with the moon at the time of the eclipse is just hours away from being a new moon. So that's a new moon eclipse on August the 12th, and that's basically the day that the 888 portal is closing. So between the time passing of the Barbeau basket, the 888 portal, which is in motion now, we have all the way to August the 12th for what we want to manifest. So what do you do with 888? Because that's what everybody asks. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to meditate on what you want to create. It's a time to do a vision board, focus on new things that you want to create. And the alignment, the 888 has to do with the star Sirius in alignment with the sun. But in astrology, we don't want to use Sirius.
Oh.
Okay?
Why is that?
Because it's a star. It's not really a planet or some form of celestial body that comes into astrological play. And I don't work with asteroids. I don't work with Chiron and any of those. I'm a traditional astrologist.
Okay.
Anyway, but the other thing is, and I'll show you this. This is the chart of August the 8th at midnight. And for people that follow this, we have Uranus there, 4 degrees of Pluto, 4 degrees of Aquarius. There's Uranus at 5 degrees of Gemini, and we have Venus at 1 degree of Libra. So we have a grand trine. So things are flowing that day, and on top of it, we have 2 different kites. So in that, with the trines, Uranus is also forming a trine to Jupiter at 8 degrees. And so when you look at this formation, or this little mini triangle, if I took the pen and drew over that, it'd be called a grand trine kite. And the kite goes this way too. So where Uranus sextiles Neptune and sextiles Pluto, we can see the kite right there. So we have 2 ways. Now, what's the upside of a kite? Grand trine kite. It is loaded with potential for good things. What's the downside of the kite? It can make people complacent and lazy and not really do the work to create what they want. So it's not like it just lands in our laps.
Yeah.
We have to use this energy. Now, once again, this is transits August 8th at midnight in Los Angeles. If I ran your chart, this would sit in your chart, and then we would see how this would affect you. So once again, if you're curious as to where, the 888 is in your chart, give me a call and we can set up a private reading. There's the number 818-865-8770. And because these are good vibrations, not to quote the Beach Boys, but they are really, really, really good vibrations. They are portals of energy, and they are very uplifting, and that's the most important thing.
So is there like a certain time to meditate, since it starts at midnight, right? 12 a.m. So should you wake up at 12 and feel that energy?
I would do that. I mean, if you're not going to be up that late before you go to bed on the night of the 7th, or when you wake up early on the morning of the 8th, do it. And then again, you have that eclipse, that new moon eclipse in Leo, and in Leo it's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Leo is very dominant.
Makes more sense.
So I think the day that the gate closes with that new moon eclipse, I think this is going to be a very powerful day. And remember, a new moon is for starting new habits, creating new. A full moon is for completion of a cycle, getting rid of things.
Oh, so that's on Saturday. Hey, a few more days.
Right. And we have,
nice
nice segue, this coming Saturday, August the 8th, is a day of crystals, which you've studied that.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to know just about crystals, not how to do the energy work, 10 to 5 at the Newmont Center. It's $135 for the day. refreshments are served, and you literally get crystals from A to Z. And if you attend and you buy anything that day, you get 30% off the retail price.
Take advantage of that.
So
I remember that class.
What's that?
I remember that class.
You took that class. You went pretty deep into the curriculum.
Into the ethers, yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I did pretty much everything.
In fact, Brandon and your wife Audie actually did house blessings with me.
Yeah, we did.
You guys went deep into the internship.
I went deep into the hole.
Into the matrix.
Yeah. I was red pilled, I guess, right?
Well, and you and I did something really intense.
That one day.
Oh, downtown at
Downtown LA.
that temporary club. Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
I still think about that.
Yeah, the wine spilled on the carpet.
Oh yeah, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. So yes, look, as we talk about working out and summer stuff, look, Brandon is very, very metaphysical. He's very tuned in and tapped in, and he's a very good student, and still has talents that he doesn't always explore. But
No.
when I took him on house blessings with me, I mean, he really did tune into what he felt and what he sensed, and people confirmed it. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, fist pump, baby. Let's go.
All right, so we working out. Okay, so and there's some of my story in here.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
which comes into play, and we have been working out faithfully for a number of weeks now.
Yes. 3
So-
weeks in a row. Yeah.
Is it 3 or 4?
Well, maybe 4 weeks now.
Yeah,
about 4
so-
weeks. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There are different things that motivate people,
Mm-hmm.
and some people just don't get motivated. they just don't.
Yeah.
So when it comes to working out, I think part of the problem, and I'll say this, and I want you to take over.
Yeah.
I think some people have a problem with the word work.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say because it seems like another task on the list, right? And
Right.
It's so funny because like when we were talking a lot during our walks, we've been walking 2 to 3 miles, right, Nick?
Right.
And so
Yep.
these conversations always come up, even with my clients. And I think when you change the wording to like, I have opportunity to, whatever it may be, then it changes the dynamic. Like today, I was telling Audie that I was like, I got to run later, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like I got to change that mindset to like I actually get to run, opposed to making
Right.
it seem like, I got to run like 5 miles today before I go to bed. And so I think like the word work definitely does, it could come into play. It could be a good or a bad thing, right? It just depends how you take it and how you word it. So if you see it, you know what I mean? I think you just got to reframe it. And I literally just had that conversation today with Audie when she was running at the gym. And I just told her some stuff, and then she had to change that mindset running on a treadmill. People call it a dreadmill because they don't like being on a treadmill, right? So I think once she figured that out and changed the wording, it was like, oh, she's done, right? And
Right.
she was able to do all the other things that she had today. But yeah, it's an interesting thing,
You know what's fascinating is I was sitting there thinking about it, you kind of got my brain moving. So when we have a sport, football, baseball, track, whatever,
Yeah.
we say we're going to go play football, we're going to
Yeah.
go play basketball.
Yeah.
So we talk about sports as we play.
Yeah.
And that inner child in us wants to play.
Exactly.
But when we're not playing a sport, when we have to go exercise, it now becomes a workout.
Yeah, yeah. I think we lose sometimes. It's funny. I've been talking about this for like the last few weeks with like everyone, right? And so one of my clients, he broke a rib, right, from doing something from 4th of July, and we were talking about that, right? And then he's healing up now. He's actually running right now. Shout out to Austin for running. And it was funny because he said, I'm trying to bring back the joy, like bring back the kid in me when it comes to the workouts that I prescribe for him. And I didn't really think about that. I was just like, we're so focused on we have to be at this caliber, right? We have to be at this level.
Right.
But in reality, like that can be taken away any day. You're right. And
Surely.
then if you lose it, right, what do you do with that space? And so what do you do to fill it in, that void? And so I think when you kind of change that mindset of like, oh yeah, this feels like me being a kid again, it does make it more exciting for you to like get actually like working out, and you're like, wow, I can't believe like I just finished this workout and it feels so good. I think when we always do it say it as like a workout, then yeah, it does make it seem like I wake up and you're like, oh, I gotta do this workout
Right.
today. I gotta do
Sure.
this, instead of like, man, like it feels good to be like alive and running and whatever,
Sure.
lifting weights, whatever it may be. Interesting.
Well, when we look at, what makes people tick, and I've talked about this kind of thing on the show before, and this applies to anything that we do.
Yeah.
So we have to look at intention, and some people actually have no intention of working out.
Yeah.
People can set negative intentions that are etched in stone. I'm not doing that. I have no intention. But let's turn this around in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So intention first is seeing it as happening, okay? And for myself, because everything is transparent,
Yeah.
Last October when I turned 70, I didn't get myself in the shape that I wanted to be in
Yeah.
at turning 70.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of pressure on myself,
course.
and a lot of things came up where I just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So when I looked at myself as I'm overweight, okay?
Yeah.
Clothes weren't fitting,
Yeah.
and I have a wardrobe that's incredible, which I'm starting to wear again.
Great.
And so the intention was, now I'm going to do this gradually. One of the things that I discovered, and I think people do this, but I want you to answer this. How many times do people set a goal, which is a good goal, but it's too daunting?
Oh, everyone does that, I say all of us do it at first. And like when I look at like the big picture, right? So the incentive at the end of the day, right? I
Right.
try to figure out, okay, am I doing this outrageous goal? And then so back in the day, I would have this big goal in mind, right? And then I'd realize that I don't have any smaller goals in between that bigger goal to achieve that bigger goal. And I think that's what a lot of us mess up on, is that we just overwhelm ourselves with that notion of like, okay, if I want to get to this point of, say 50 pounds less, or I want to run this distance, right? Sometimes you have to look at it and be like, okay, do you know what? If I want to lose this much weight, I first need to break down my weekly/monthly. Okay, let me just first work on losing a pound or two a week, right? Versus
Right.
like, I need to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, because then your brain's trying to process, how do I lose 50 pounds in 3 months, opposed to like, I can lose 2 pounds a week and be much healthy
Right.
and feel better about myself. And so I think that's the biggest thing is I do it all the time, right? Sometimes I just take a step back. I got a 100-mile race in like 2.5 months, right? And my
Hold on, cowboy.
At a
100-mile race over what time period?
24 hours, give or take.
Okay.
That's the goal.
But
That's
there's
the goal.
something. This man is amazing. You in one day ran 55 miles. Am I right?
Longer now, so I did 63 miles in some time frame. So the goal is 100 now. I just did that like 4 months ago. So so we talk about these smaller goals, right? And so the smaller goal was that race itself to set the tone for the 100-mile, right? And then 4 weeks ago I did a 32-mile race, and so over the weekend I did 29 miles. So like I'm building my resume up to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm good. So like you set yourself up for success. I think when you over analyze it and then you start to think like, oh my gosh, like the logistics don't match, where am I at, this and that. And I think that's where like we talk about intention, inspiration, motivation, right?
Right.
That's when motivation could go boop, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
inspiration could go oop. Like you could get inspired by people, but if you're not doing the work or doing anything to supplement that energy, where's it
Right.
going to go to? It just goes over your head, and then you just, like today I was just telling you earlier, I was like, I don't feel like running after this, right? But I know like if I don't do what I have on my calendar, then my motivation might just go down a little bit, and then I might just take a little bit longer, and then it just, then it's like what Audrey says, you go down the hill,
Down the
so
hill
you got
to hell.
you got to stop yourself at the top of the
Right.
hill, and that's something I've learned from you guys, right? Intention, setting that tone, and then looking at the bigger picture, right? So
Well, and one thing that's not on here, but Audrey would say, you put your focus and attention on your intention.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why on this, which applies to any business, intention is first. And once intention is set, you see yourself as that. And I can tell you one of the things that I saw is that one of my fellow coaches, he's like roughly 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 20 years is a big difference, but the guy really put himself in shape.
Yeah.
And I kept holding that and to see and he's shredded.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
kept seeing myself like that.
Yeah.
And so I kept having that vision, and gradually, I'm getting there. I lost 13 pounds.
Yeah, congrats. It's huge.
Thank you. So it is a commitment. Now, inspiration comes from within.
Oh, 100%,
Okay,
100%.
inspiration is a derivative of spirit.
Yeah.
So that comes from within. What inspires you? Well, there could be a lot of things that inspire you.
Yeah.
It could be your health in working out. It could be wanting to look better.
Could be even just at your age of like inspiring yourself to be like, it's funny because you see these people nowadays, like people are living longer, right? And you see these people that are like 70s and 80s. They don't even look like they're in their 70s and 80s. They look like they're 50s, right?
Right.
Because they figure out what inspires them to want to be that. And it's funny. I was just talking about this with a client. There's like a great commercial that came up where you see this grandfather just like doing certain movements, right? And then at the end of it, the movements he was learning was to be able to pick up his child, his grandchild, and for Christmas, right? So you're like thinking about like that's what inspired him was to get fit enough to be able to pick up his grandchild, right? And so
Right.
it's kind of interesting how we all use different things and motivations and inspirations to be able to like get to that stage. And I think for you, I think your intention was you're holding that space for just from that guy, right? You're selling yourself next to people that are going to uplift you, right? And so you're holding that intention in for sure, and it's inspiring you to like, okay, like the other day I told you, okay, we're going to hit 3 miles today.
Right.
We walked almost like 7,600 steps,
it
7,700
was
steps.
it was almost 7,800
Yeah,
steps.
so it was a lot
Yeah.
of steps in 3 miles. 3.1, we did a 5K, which is great. And I think 4 weeks ago, we were barely hitting a mile, So
Right.
just the progression of how you've been and how you're actually staying dedicated, like you're making that space to be like, no, I need to set Tuesdays with him for, these 2 hours just to be able to get this, motivation I need to better myself. Because your birthday's coming up in 3 months. Right.
October 20th.
Yeah. So
2 months, 2.5 months.
I know you're progressing in positive ways, and I think you want to keep maintaining that into the next year, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then we get into the word motivation. Well, where inspiration comes from within, motivation comes from the outside. And so for myself, I bring in Brandon.
Yeah.
Not that I can't work out on my own, but it's good to have a workout buddy, an actual trainer. And also, one thing about Brandon, especially for mature guys, Brandon understands the male physique, the male body, all of that. And so, whether it's the long walks, lifting weights, doing core work, stretching, we do all of it. And
Motivation is a good thing.
and then finally we have incentive, and incentive is where it gets greedy. What's in it for me? Well, my incentive is I want to look good.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy for many, many years.
Yeah.
And for me, because I used to be a weightlifter a long time ago,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with my age, like being like a Q-tip.
Hey, yeah, you might end up like Arnold, just casket might have to get bigger, when you pass on because you're all that muscle.
When I was in my 20s and I lifted weights, I had a chart 6 nights a week because I also still played football.
Yeah.
So I had a chart of all the different exercises that I did. I had like 3 different kinds of benches, barbells, dumbbells, and all that.
Yeah.
And I was built like Rocky Balboa, when the way Stallone looked in those movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like,
Things were so simple back then, huh? Ish.
and I was 165 pounds and solid.
There you go. See.
So that's where I'm headed. But everybody's got different incentives.
Yeah.
Sometimes incentives come from a negative thing, like a person could have something with their health or something debilitating.
It happens.
It happens. So for people, there's got to be an action plan. Okay.
Yeah, always.
And we know in business that if people fail to plan, they plan to fail.
Yeah.
So, the plan, like for myself, the plan was bring Brandon back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get that going again.
Yeah.
And then I had the goal.
Yeah.
I knew what the goal was. All right. There's a certain weight that I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm already down 13.
We're going down even more, so it's going to be good.
That's right. But here's the thing, and this is important in any kind of business. It's one thing to be goal oriented.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be result oriented.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the key, because the goal is great, but will you achieve the result? So let's say you're working with someone and they're floundering
yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
What do you do to them, for them?
I slap them. Just kidding.
Are you sure you're not?
What
part
are you
Italian?
doing right now?
You part Italian?
Yeah. Spiritual slap them, right? They're all
Right.
remote.
Oh yeah.
I think it's easier when you have someone with you, right? Like, I'm with you. I see you once a week, right? And that may change in the future, right? But right now
Probably will.
I see you once a week, so you have this like, okay, like Brandon's gonna be here. We're gonna do X, Y, Z. When I have clients that are remote, it's a little bit more difficult. So my whole thing is I tap in, I figure it out, I ask God to give me some insight, right? But I also look at what their stresses are, what their life is feeling like right now. Because, I mean, it's summertime, it's hot, no one wants, which there'll probably be a segue to everything else, right?
Yes.
But, right now it's hot and people don't want to do anything because they feel, like you said, lazy earlier. And
Right.
so usually I have these conversations with them, these deep conversations, and that's when your lovely wife, Audrey, said I should be going into other things, right? And so when I have these conversations, I really talk to them, okay, like our plan is this. We have this plan for, say, 6 months already planned out.
Right.
Your goal is this. So the results, your end result should be this, right? But there's always going to be little bumps in between getting to that result. So like when people have a hard time looking at a schedule and then shifting things around because of work or whatever, I look at that and be like, okay, what can we do to like change that, right? So certain weeks when I program people, I'm like, okay, it's been a heavier week for them last week. Let's just start all over again and kind of set the tone back so it's easier for them to process these little goals that we have that we make for ourselves. And then, when you kind of map it out that way, it feels much lighter for them to be
Right.
like, okay, the next segment, like goal, is more achievable just because of switching some small things around. But I think a lot of us go through that. We get these highs and lows, and that's normal. I think
Sure.
it's perfectly fine. It's just when you're at a low, you just have to like get yourself out of that low, and like Audrey says, critical thinking, right? Get yourself
Yes.
out of that point where you're like, okay, why am I feeling this way? And I ask them questions, right? I ask them to do homework as well, just like you guys give me homework, And so I think when they finally realize certain things about them, then they start to be like, okay, this makes sense. So now the plan shifted and changed for them to achieve their goals and the results that they want. And sometimes the result is not what they want, but it's what they need for them to realize, okay, like this takes more dedication than
Sure.
what I thought, or this takes more time of my day. So now I got to map out more of when I need to exercise, how to exercise, and things like that. It's like meal planning. You
Right.
set the tone on Sundays, if that's the case, and then you map out your 3 days. After the 3 days, do you do it again on Wednesday to the next 3 days, or do you say, F it, I'm good right now for 3 days? Because, we get lazy, right?
Sure.
But then you have to go back to the 4 topics, right? Incentives, motivation, inspiration, intention. So you look at that and you're like, okay, then it's like retrain those habits again. And we all go through that. So I think with clients, I sympathize. I try to make sure they feel comfortable with speaking to me about things, and then we just kind of shift things from there. But it's a normal thing, I guess.
There's a lot that's in social media right now that's very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to say this on behalf of people watching. When you go through social media, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
first of all, there's all these different people telling you what you should or shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
and they do contradict each other.
They all
Okay.
do.
And then there is the military calisthenics.
Yeah.
Then there's the Tai Chi seated exercises, and
It's confusing because you either get people that actually know what they're doing, right? That are actually trainers that have been doing it for a long time, or nutritionists, dietitians, or doctors, right? But then you get these people that just learn something from TikTok, right? And then they have a big following, and then they start spewing what they believe is true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is true, sometimes it's not true, right? So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. So you can look at it and be like, okay, calisthenics is very good for body weight. It's a good introduction for people that don't have a gym, right? Or don't want to feel like they're at a gym and people are watching them hold a 5-pound weight. You know what I mean? So you can get the same results from calisthenics, just like lifting, right? It's a different type of resistance, and you're loading up the muscles a little bit differently. But I think when you look at certain things, you have to just look at it from a point of, does this make sense to me? Or like, even for me, I look at stuff and I'm like, okay, this person's talking about the heat, sodium, potassium, all this stuff, right? And then I'll do my research and be like, okay, does this make sense for me, right? And then I'll even ask my dietitian or ask my holistic doctor about this kind of stuff, and he gives me his insight. And yeah, sometimes I listen. I mean, they went to school for all this, and sometimes I'm like, okay, what's my intuition telling me? Do I need to listen to this? Do I, because some people will tell you, don't do this, because it's
Right.
going to kill you at the end of the day. And it's like, well, is it? Or is it just you being overly cautious, right? So you have to look at it from a standpoint of, do I want to trust this person? Are they knowledgeable to an extent? Like, I go to you for this kind of stuff, astrology and all my things that we do, right, for healing.
Sure.
And I trust you 100% because I've known you since 2018. So we're going on 8 years,
8
right?
years, right.
And so just after our first sessions together, we tapped into this whole other side of me where everything was gone. So I said, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm gonna keep coming back, which, I took 2 years of classes with you, right?
Yes.
So I did learn a lot about you as a person, me as a person, right? But you also got to look at it from a standpoint of, am I willing to change that? Am I willing to listen and actually do what they say? Or do I just need to go to someone else, whatever it may be.
Right.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about, we joked at the beginning of the show that it's hot right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Stupid hot.
Right. But does that mean people can't work out?
No.
No, of course not.
Yeah. I think if you do work out, I went with Keith. He's fast, right? Keith. And
Right.
so he's in the 220s marathoner, right? And so when you look at what he's doing, we're like best friends. So when we run together, he pushes me to the point where I have to pay attention to my hydration levels each and every day because I'm sweating like no other. And in the heat, it makes it a lot worse because your heart's working harder, right? So you have to find that fine line of like what's pushing it and what's not pushing it, right? So you have to look at, okay, if I'm going to be working out in the heat, what do I need to bring with me, right? Do I need to bring some extra food, or do I need to bring some electrolytes, some water, right? Anything that you feel like you need, you should be bringing it with you because the heat will definitely, your body's just trying to figure out how to cool itself more, right? So it's using more energy to keep yourself from doing it, right? So I think that's the hardest thing is heat will always mess with you, but if you slow it down, like in running, for example, if you slow it down, the pace, just jog, hydrate more, you'll survive, right? Opposed to just going in hard 100% every time.
Right.
But the heat is no joke.
Well, the last couple times we've gone out, and we start early in the morning to walk.
7:30.
Yeah. So what I do is I bring organic coconut water for the electrolytes,
There's electrolytes right there.
as
Mother nature.
opposed to just water.
Yeah, because
And-
this will not give you. Yes, it will give you what you need, but especially if you're exercising and releasing those supplements that you need,
Right.
you're definitely. I think the coconut water is just a natural electrolyte that you felt better, opposed to like doing a packet that's full of sugar.
Right.
That's
right.
because a lot of these brands they make it seem like, okay, you're getting this much sodium content, right? But then when you look at it from a different standpoint, you're like added 40 grams of sugar, like what's in here that's, And so my dietitian's like, you don't need this, right? So I started doing my own mixture of like lemon, salt, and water, right? More natural, and I feel so much better. I drank that before I got here, and now I feel more hydrated, right? And your skin's gonna feel it, your body's gonna feel it, opposed to the processed sugars. So now your body's like breaking down other stuff, just to like make it work for you, which is not a bad thing. But
You know what's fascinating is that, you and I there's a big separation in our ages.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you something. I don't usually talk about brands, but back in the day,
Yeah.
okay, when I was in high school, the original Gatorade
oh yeah,
tasted like that.
yeah, they talked about that, how once it sold out or whatever it may
Right.
be, right? They started adding more dyes, right, and things like that. And interesting enough, Audie just sent me a video of a natural Gatorade, which is probably what you had, and
Yeah.
literally it was just they made it out of watermelon juice and some lemons, a little bit of salt, and then mixed it, right? And I was
Right.
like, oh man, that sounds really good, more refreshing. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, I have stuff that has sugar in it. I'm burning it, right? But
Right.
I don't want to get addicted to that stuff, and I do sometimes, because the body craves processed sugar. So once you kind of have it, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I need it more every day. Right? Give it to me, right?
Right.
I just had a Tootsie Roll right now from Ed's bowl of candy, and I'm like, I shouldn't be eating that, but I need a little pick me upper, So, but I think that the judgment has to get out of that too. You got to do what you feel is appropriate. If you do it once in a while, fine. If you don't, then it's okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and we know that whether it's working out or diets, the word diet.
Yeah.
When we go to extremes, we're setting ourselves up to fail.
Oh, yeah.
It is consistency. Like for myself, it's getting the white food, the wheat products out of my
Oh, yeah.
out of my diet.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it's gluten free, organic, if it's some form of cracker, wheat based.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I can do potato.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do rice, but not the wheat.
Yeah. Well, everyone's body breaks. I mean, like I told you, I was gluten free for like 3 years, and then I started adding a little bit after that race I had 4 months ago, and I felt like my body needed it. Like it was like, okay, like you need to have some type of source. But then I've been doing it so often that I don't even tell people I'm gluten free because granted, I shouldn't even be saying this, but I had like 2 double doubles and fries last night after the fair. I was like, I'm not gonna eat fair food. I'm just gonna eat In-N-Out instead. So we went there, and I had the cheese and stuff. But I woke up and I was like, man, I could definitely feel that, and like just
Did you have it with the bun or protein style?
Oh no, with the bun. Come on, Nick, we gotta do the.
Why don't you do Flying Dutchman? Where it's the,
I
the
know,
onions,
the patties
or
and onions.
Yeah.
I can't go to bed with onion breath. Come on. We all know that, Audie's like, all right, you gotta turn this way.
There's a version of it where the slices of tomatoes are the bun. I forget what they call that one.
It's just a tomato bun. I think that's all it is. I did that, but the thing is, you bite in it, and then the tomato. So what's the point of eating it with a tomato bun? And it gets
Right.
messy. It's all messy.
Right,
But
exactly.
I did it, and I think once in a while it's fine, right? I think it's okay, but I'm not going to judge myself on that kind of stuff because I was hungry, and it was 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
You know.
And it's going to happen.
Yeah, like giving yourself a treat is fine. Doing it every day, not fine, right?
No.
But like, for you notice a difference in the way you felt from inflammation wise to just health wise. You're like, okay, I lost 13 pounds, and this is probably a supplement to that, right? And so I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, maybe right now I'm needing it because at some point when I get into longer stuff, my body's going to need more
Sure.
of this stuff to help break down, give me more energy, right? And so I just been like taking it as I go. The place you run at, it's funny, the place you run at every Wednesday at Institutional in Camarillo, they have these pretzels. And at first I was like, I don't want this pretzel. And then I got a pretzel because it was like Dodger games and all that stuff, right? Last year. And then all of a sudden I started eating more of it. And I was like, okay, it became more of a treat. And then now it became like a standard. Like every time we go there, I get a pretzel. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to like do this all the time because I wake up the next day and be like, and then I got to get my enzymes and then I got to do this.
Right.
And then, but for you doing that, like you felt a difference, right? And so now I'm more motivated thinking about that. I told Audie, I said, maybe I'll just do this like a couple times a week, in which it's only been like twice a week, but I might have to like start easing off of that again because there is a difference between European wheat versus Italian
Yes.
versus American, right?
That's
we
right.
we all know what they do to our foods out here. A lot of it's being processed now, which is interesting. So much stuff has been coming out about fake meats and lab meats and all this stuff, right? So you have to be very cautious, and you're more cautious about what you're putting in your body now because there's longevity for you. Like, it became more like, I want to look buff, right, as younger, but now it's like, I just want to live long enough to see maybe some grandkids in the future, right? And you would have some, but more from the other daughters, right? So it's like things have shifted. Your plan has shifted.
Right. It's a win-win-win. And I like how I feel when I'm working out.
Yeah.
Less weight, but more muscle. It just feels good.
Yeah, and your training has shifted, right? Because typically, like, what do they always say? Summer bods are made in winter, right? So wintertime, you think about, like, when I used to think about that, I'd be like, okay, that's true, because you're building more strength in the winter, right? Building more mass, and then as beach summer comes, right? You want to look in a bathing suit and things like that. You might do certain workouts, or you might shift certain things to get slimmer and lean up, right? And so, right now you're in this phase of, okay, I'm in summertime, I'm building some cardio. So then by the time fall and winter comes, you might be more cardio based and be like, okay, I can handle more workouts at higher intensity, like we talked about this the other day. And we're like, okay, shorter walk. Now we're going to add a little more intensity, so you're not just walking 3 miles. Now you're going to be doing a mile walk with more weights in between, with less recovery, right? Just to like kind of keep that heart rate up a little bit, and you're in this fat burning stage. But I think just any movement in general is key, right? And,
oh my God!
And so you're feeling that out now, and now you're figuring out, okay, this works for me, this doesn't work for me.
Well, and when in sticking with it, like when it's not just about walking 3 miles instead of 1 mile. When we go back to the beginning, I mean, and there's hills in my neighborhood.
A lot of hills.
And, the calf muscles let those calves are mooing. And so.
Moo.
Exactly. So the other day when we were, like, there was nothing from the calf muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you got quicker on those hills, especially because I remember the first times we were like, oh, we're not going up that way, right? So then we would just turn around. But now now it's like, all right, bring it on. You're like Lieutenant Dan on top of the sail ship. Is that all you got? Right? And so now you're at this stage where you're like, okay, cool. Like, I could definitely see myself progressing, right? And the shoes I'm wearing are recovery, shoes, right? And I'm walking up this thing. I'm like, man, these things got no grip. I'm like, but I can't tell it's a Nick, so I just walk it up a little bit stronger. I'm like, all right, I'm using more muscle right now to go up here, But your breathing went from to like, okay, it's more manageable now, right? I even heard your difference of breathing going from 4 weeks ago till now,
right.
And it's cool to see all the hills. I mean, I think I gotta look at my watch in the library, but we probably got at least 200, 300 feet of up and down the hills, right? Of just walking. I mean, we're looking at our future homes back there, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at
we're having fun.
Which house are we going to egg next time? But we're just, it's cool because you're taking action, right?
Right.
And what you want to accomplish and what you're trying to get, right? And that itself is the inspiration, motivation for me to take action in my goals, right? And this is non-running related and workout related, but it's more about surrounding yourself to people that are taking action in what they want in their life. And you're inspiring me. Being here with Ed in this studio, we used to film all the time back here. So now it's like I got to take action and start doing this podcasting stuff again with Audie. So it all works in some way, right? Maybe that's the reason why I'm here today instead of Run Club, Yep. So I'm going to inspire myself and inspire other people.
Well, I want to, you said that, and I know people that are watching can see that there.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what it stands for. Tell them, please.
I guess you can see. I don't know if you can see the back. It's my club.
They can see it.
Okay. That's just my club, Run Free. So we're in Camarillo. So based in Camarillo, I do coaching and personal training, stuff like that. Run Free Running Club. Audie and I love this type of music, which is metal. So we did a metal font, and people
like
love
it.
It's different. It's unique. It feels like us, which is what we wanted.
Right.
Every week we bring. Every week we try to bring the community together, at least
Right.
twice a week, right? We do things on the weekend. We do things on Wednesdays, which I'm missing today. So Audie's taking over all that today, and I know she's doing really well with it. So like, it's just great to bring people together.
Right.
I think. People have a hard time, like we talk about motivation. I think people have a hard time getting motivated when they have to do a task or do something. And when you're surrounded by people, especially the amount of people that are coming every week, you're like,
Right.
okay. And it's cool to see like the younger generation come out now because, I'm in my 40s now. And so when I look back at that, 40. I look back at that, I'm like, it's always my age group, right? But now we're getting like the 20s,
Sure.
20s and maybe even below that. We even have some 12-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids coming out, and they're getting ready for high school track and all that kind of stuff, and they're fast. And so it's cool to like see this generation, go somewhere, right? But
Well, and that's another thing too for me. I coach high school softball.
Yeah.
Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't want to look like the fat old grandpa out there.
you want to feel young, you want to look young, right?
Right.
And I think that's the hardest thing is like, I need to do more of certain things. I know that, right? I need to do more mobility. I need to do more stretching. Yes, I know that. I tell my clients that all the time, right? And I do the bare minimum when I feel like I need to. But I think when you're put in a position where you're like, okay, I need to change my things around, especially surrounding yourself next to a bunch of teenage girls, and if you have to show a demonstration, right, or throw a ball, you don't want to be able to throw the ball like 5 yards and be like, oh, it's embarrassment. You want to
Right.
be able to like, all right, this is the Newmont pitch, right? And so, I mean, it's cool to like see that, right? And you're changing your viewpoint on that stuff. So
Sure.
little by little.
Well, little by little. That's a great segue. So what do you do with someone, they come and they haven't worked out for a while,
Yeah.
and they're a little despondent?
Yeah. I get those all the time.
All right, so how do you lay a plan out for them that
Yeah.
feels doable and they'll feel like little successes?
Yeah. I think so on the training platform I use, when I build, say it's a runner, for example, right? And they haven't ran ever. So there's a whole thing where you can be like couch potato to 5K, right? And so when you look at couch to 5K kind of plans, a lot of it is just time on feet. So for you, like say right now you're like, hey, I want to run a 5K for December, right? There's a Christmas
Right.
5K, right? That gives you 5 months. My plan for you would be like, okay, let's just spend, say 10 to 15 minutes of a walk run, ease into the running again so your body adapts to that, right? And it doesn't mean
Right.
you have to run for 15 minutes. It could just be like, I'm going to run for 30 seconds, walk for 90 seconds, run for 30 seconds, jog, or whatever it may be, right? And so I think when you start off like little goals like that, it becomes much easier for someone to be like, okay, I can do this every day or every few days. But I try to look at their schedule and be like, okay, 3 days of running or whatever lifting it may be, but we do smaller things in the beginning. So it's not about the quantity of what you're doing, it's about the quality of it. So good technique, a doable weight that's easier on them. I have a lady that has a lot of health conditions, and when I work her out, sometimes she has these flare-ups that can last a long time. And so when I train her, I go based off of what she's feeling that day. So if a walk is a walk, then that's what we're going to do regardless. She can barely walk at that time, like a half a mile, maybe 0.8 tops. Now we're walking just as much as you. We're doing 3-mile walks. And she's doing it much faster, right? And so, she progressed to that stage, right? And lifting was the same thing where, she listens to her body. Okay, if we're going to be doing some light shoulder stuff, some chest stuff, she has a bench now. So now we're going to her backyard now. She just has all this whole setup. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just start off small. Let's just keep it light weights right now and keep the reps, not a lot, but something that's doable that you can sustain for 4 sets of it, 3 sets of it, whatever it may be.
Sure.
And I think that's the biggest thing is looking at it from where they're at and making it easier for them. And because if I gave you like 30-minute run and you have to recover at this time, this, you might get unmotivated, be like, that was really hard. I don't want to do that again, right? Because your mind's like,
Right.
it's uncomfortable. And so your mind's like, what do I do? Where do I go? But I think when you make it much more attainable, it becomes much easier, right? So anyone that's having a hard time getting into the routine, you just have to look at certain things. Okay, if I'm going to work out my legs today, maybe I'll just do some squats, some lunges, and maybe another exercise that you feel like you have a weak, that's weak for sure, and then you can just go based off of that and do that twice a week. Maybe do 3 sets of that, and that's where calisthenics works out perfectly, because
Right.
you can go to a wall and do push-ups like you're doing the brick wall. You're doing your push-ups, right? You can do 10 reps of that, give yourself a break or two, go back and do another set. Interesting enough, there's actually people that from books and things like that I read that like one guy, anytime he walked into this one room, he would have to do 10 pull-ups. And I was like, So then I started doing that. So anytime I walked to the bathroom, right, when I was working from home a lot, anytime I walked to the bathroom, I would do 10 pull-ups on my way out, right? And then that itself made it much easier for me to look at. When I was looking, I was like, damn, I just did 100 pull-ups in a day, right? So that mindset changed. And I'm like, I could definitely do this, right? So I think when people look at, I give people those kind of like workouts where like, hey, if you walk into a room and you're always in the kitchen, right, going to the kitchen to snack, now when you get out of the kitchen, you got to do like 10 squats, 15 squats, because now you're like, okay, now I got to work. If I'm going to walk here, now I got to do something, right? And that can sometimes help stop those cravings. Now I don't want to do squats, right, whatever it may be. But I think you just have to find that like happy medium of what works out for you. So right now we've learned that, okay, we like these walks. It's been helping your cardio out. That cardio eventually is going to help you when it comes to intensity stuff, which we're going to try next week.
Right.
And that's not going to be anything heavy. It's just going to be something where, okay, I did 3 exercises. Typically we would do like 3 to 4 exercises, have your break in between, and you're like, okay, I'm good, because you know your body,
Right.
and you don't want to overdo it, because if you do that, then you can't do any of your other work.
Right.
And I think people realize if they go too hard, then the rest of the day looks like crap.
Right.
And then they're just like, I can't work and do things, But I think when you progressively overload into certain movements and weight, then it becomes much easier for you
Sure.
to obtain that.
Sure.
But
And it's important in anything that people do that they recognize their successes. Mm-hmm. And it's good to have a feeling of success and accomplishment, especially with someone who has not worked out for a while.
Yeah, I think you gotta create like the successes. I think a lot of us don't give us enough pat in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for
Sure.
you might be like, that was a great workout, but did I gain anything out of it, right? So you won't be like the other day I told Audie when we were doing CrossFit, I had her do. I wasn't paying attention to the workout. Yes, I know that what they said, but I told her, I said, well, at the end of the day, like you just benched your highest you ever done, and you did 6 reps of it, right? Even though you wanted to do more, but that's a huge win for you to look at it from that standpoint, because now you just did quality over quantity, and then her mindset shifted, right, and it changed, and I was like, see, like those are the wins and the successes that you didn't recognize because you were so fixated on one thing, right? And then you look back at it and be like, I actually did that. I think a lot of us need to like have more self-love, because social media, it's a positive and negative, right? It could be
Right.
very positive. You can find something very motivating, positive, but then it could be a negative because, I don't look like this person, right?
Right.
And so I think that's where you said inspiration comes from within.
Right. And I don't expect myself to look like it when I was like 25.
Yeah.
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 But
It's all doable
Right.
if you really want it, right?
Right.
If your intention's to be like that, you can definitely do it. But I don't think your intention's that anymore. I think longevity and health and just
Right.
feeling good overall, so you can keep doing energy work and you can keep up with the family, and you can go to Disneyland and walk 10 million miles, right?
Right.
And keep up without being like, give me like an hour break to sit here and miss all the fun, right? So I think everyone's intentions and motivation are always going to be completely different, but yours has shifted, mine has shifted, everyone else I train has shifted into positive ways where they recognize those things that they need to work on,
Right.
So
If someone wants to get a hold of you to be trained, curious about Run Free Running Club, how do
Yeah.
they get a hold of you?
You can call me. It's probably not going to put on that thing, but you can always call me at 805-407-3977. That's my personal mobile number.
Say that again.
805-407-3977.
Operators are standing by.
My first ring. So that's one thing. Or you can just find me on Instagram, which is just my full name, Brandon Lee Fravel, Brandon Lee Lee Fravel, which is Fravel on there. Or you can go to runfreerunningclub.net and you can fill out a little form. So you can definitely do that. Maybe we'll put this in the show notes at some point if no one's listening at the very end. But you can definitely look at it and hit me up. Yeah.
Okay,
Because
good.
honestly, I got some space for people. I've been super busy, which is great. You know?
It is, yeah.
It's been nonstop. So I have you to thank for that. I have the energy work of my doing some stuff on my own. You know what I mean? So
Good.
We're all learning.
Right. And we
Small
all
goals.
learn from each other, and we all support each other.
Yeah.
You know, we have the luxury in Southern California, pretty much year round.
Oh yeah.
Accessibility. One of my clients is an athlete, and will be attending a school in Connecticut.
Okay.
Okay, and it's an outdoor sport.
Oh yeah.
So we do know it gets cold and snowy in Connecticut.
A lot of
So
snow.
for us here in Southern California, is there anything to seasonal training? I know you did say you work out in the winter and to create the summer bod, but
Yeah, I think in general, like, it's kind of funny because when you like research it, right, it all depends on your goal. So like you can look at it from a standpoint of like, okay, winter I'm going to bulk up more, right? Spring I'm going to lean up a little bit. But I think in general, what I've been just telling people is movement is better than no movement, right? So anyone that's coming from California to the East Coast or East Coast to California, in reality, it's just seeing what works for you because you grew up in a
Pennsylvania.
snowy area, so like overworking yourself is like you said, like your blood's thicker, right? And so that can cause more heart issues. So sometimes doing a nice easy warm-up of whatever it may be of mobility, some squats, some lunges, some thoracic stuff of moving the body will help definitely keep the blood flowing, right? So I think anything in general, as long as you move and figure out what is working for you and what's not working for you, I think that's where you kind of have to play with it and see what's the best value. But when it comes to winter, right, if it's an outdoor sport, you might end up being in the gym more, running on the treadmill, right? If it's cardio based, you might be doing more of that kind of stuff, opposed to like running outside. California, we're kind of spoiled, we pay for the weather, right? And so we have the luxury of going on a hill, or being in a gym, or whatever it may be. But yeah, in general, I say just move. Movement's key, regardless if it's yoga, walking, running, jogging, hiking. I think just getting yourself to move in some aspect is better than nothing.
right. And I think that is some of the best advice for any of us is movement.
Yeah, I mean, think about like you talk about energy and being stagnant, right? And the Holy Grail Bible book that Audrey always has in her office, right? We bought that book, and it's funny when you look at certain aspects of why energy's in your knee, your foot, your shoulder, whatever it may be, and then you look at it and you're like, huh. So energy can be released if you just allow yourself to move in that way, right? And
Right.
so,
Yeah, exactly. Just got a little bit of time left. For you, Brandon, I thank you for, training me
Oh, of course.
because,
You're welcome.
this gentleman is very good at what he does, and he lives what he does. He's not from, saying this and do this.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate it.
You live what you do. And tell them once again if they want to get a hold of you for training.
Oh yeah. So Instagram is Brandon Lee Fravel, Brandon. Thanks, Ed. Lee Fravel, Fravel. 805-407-3977, and my website is runningclub.net. NET.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, and you'll be on again. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. I will be off
Next week?
playing. Yep,
you
having a
go.
good time,
See?
getting some exercise. And want to say thank you to the gentleman behind the scenes, Ed Hunt, who always does a really good job. And yes, we are live in the studios of Conejo Valley Talk Radio in the heart of Westlake Village. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate all the feedback on past shows. Keep watching us and share with your friends, please. Thank you again. I'm Nick Newmont. This has been Mainstream Metaphysics. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Good night, everyone.
Good night.